We've the exclusive broadcast now of Alan Bennett's latest work. It's a letter typed to his old primary school. Upper Armley National is now known as Christchurch Upper Armley School, and it celebrates its 150th anniversary this year. Bennett, who's argued for the abolition of private school, touches on the topic in what I think you'll agree is an otherwise personal account. Here it is, read for us by Jacob Briggs from Year 6.
I was 5 in 1939 and should have started at Upper Armley National School, now Christchurch, on Monday, September the 4th. However, war had been declared the day before, Sunday, September the 3rd, so in anticipation of immediate bombing, all schools were closed and many children evacuated. My parents couldn't face this, and so had taken my brother and me out into the country for what they told us was a picnic, something we'd never been on. There was chaos at Vicar Lane bus station, with huge queues, but we eventually managed to get on a bus to Harrogate, where we queued again for a bus to Pateley Bridge. En route, and seemingly at random, we got off at a tiny village, Wilsill, and Dad knocked at the door of Birrell Farm and asked if they would take in Mum, my brother and me. Their name was Weatherhead, and they were a lovely couple with whom we stayed for a month or two, and often for holidays afterwards. My first school, therefore, was not Christchurch, but the one in Wilsill, where both teachers, a man and a woman, were quite fierce, and the cane much in evidence. My brother caught it, but I managed to avoid it. When it became plain that Leeds wasn't going to be bombed, we came back home, and my brother and I duly went to Upper Armley National School, down Vicar Lane. The head teacher of the primary school was Miss Hook, who was formidable but kindly, and the other teachers I remember, Miss Timpson, Miss Lagarde and Mrs. Glenn. The male teachers were Mr. Dixon and the headmaster, Mr. Spencer, who was far from kindly, and from whom I did get the cane for being late into lines. I was quite clever, and didn't find schoolwork hard, as I could read already through looking over my brother's shoulder when he read his comics. What I've always remembered, though, is the boy with whom I shared a desk, my friend Albert Benson, who came immediately after me in the register. Albert was cleverer than I was, and more modest. I was a real show-off. But when it came time for us to go in for secondary school, Westleys High School, as it was then, Albert didn't go in for the exam, as he wasn't going to be able to stay on at school. I then knew that this was unfair. Of course it was free for both of us, as all education should be, but he was going to have to go out to work. My parents both had to leave school at 12 or 13, so they were determined that my brother and me should have a secondary education. So my time at what is now Christchurch laid the foundations of a belief that I've never lost, namely that education, whatever one's background, should be free, and all classes of society should share in free education. Good luck, Alan Bennett.
Good job, Jacob Briggs, reading that from Year 6. Mark Mardell is here. What a great performance from someone from Year 6.
It was lovely, wasn't it? Really good to hear.
Read on Radio 4. We'll all be out of work. That's what's happening, isn't it? Because it's all getting younger.
Yes,
and Year 6,
youth is important.
Exactly.